So for this video, we are going to be writing the equation of a quadratic equation in Vertex form when we are given a description. So it says write an equation for a function whose graph fits the given description. And it tells us that we're working with the graph of f of x is equal to x squared. And it's shifted 3 units to the left. It's then vertically stretched by a factor of 6, reflected across the x-axis, and finally it is shifted 7 units downward. So what I have here on the screen is the formula for a quadratic equation in Vertex form. So some of the important things to note about the equation, we are having to fill in for A here at the front, which represents a stretch or a compression in our graph. It also represents if our graph is positive or negative, if it opens upward or downward. That minus K inside the parentheses represents a horizontal shift. So it's moving so many units to the left or to the right. If it does say that it is moving so many units to the left, we would signify that by a plus sign followed by however many units we are moving. So like +3, +7. Or if it's moving to the right, then we would actually be using a minus sign, like a -2, -5 type of thing. And the plus K at the back of the equation represents a vertical shift. So it's going to be like +3 if we go up 3 units, -2 if we go down 2 units. So it's just plus or minus however many units we're going up or down. So we're going to go ahead and try and write our equation in Vertex form. So we're going to start with f of x is equal to. So taking a look at A, remember A represents a sign and it also represents a stretch or compression. So if we go back to our problem, it does say that our graph is vertically stretched by a factor of 6. So a stretch or a compression represents A. So since that says it is vertically stretched by a factor of 6, we will plug in a 6. But we also need to talk about our sign for our x. So our sign is always represented in the front of our equation. And we have here that our description says that it is reflected across the x-axis. If it is reflected across the x-axis, that is going to make x negative. So we do have to throw in a negative there in front as well. Otherwise, we're going to start our parentheses, and x is always going to be part of our equation. We just need to see, is it going to be x plus a number or x minus a number? And remember that that is determined by a left or right shift. So if we go back to our description, it does say that this is shifted 3 units to the left. So left means we're going to have a plus, and that's going to be a +3. Also remember that this should always be squared since we are talking about a quadratic equation. Which means the last thing to focus on is a vertical stretch. And we do see that our graph is shifted 7 units downward. If it says downward, you put a minus. Upward, it's a plus. And ours says downward 7 units, so -7. So our full equation in Vertex form is f of x is equal to -6, parentheses, x plus 3 squared minus 7.